Well, do you have any questions about anything? Or I've got a topic.
Oh, you've got a topic?
Potentially. Okay. I can bring a topic down, I can channel something.
Yeah, channel. That's a good idea. Channel topic.
Okay. In life, we are being bombarded with information constantly. And on an energetic system, we have this bioelectric field around us, essentially, which is referred to as an aura. But it has many functions, and one of which is a filter. And it's the filter that allows certain information to come in and certain information to not come in, and also certain information to come out or not come out. Okay? It's one of its jobs. And for example, if you've ever met someone who they can't see something that's so obvious, and you're saying,
why can't you see it?
You know, it's like, it's just not in, it doesn't come through this filter. It doesn't meet them because their belief system is so strong that thing doesn't exist, or even that something does exist. Our belief system is so strong that bioelectric aura that they have just stops that information even reaching them. It's like a self-defense system. It's like, a force field. So when we open our matrix and we're doing Qigong, we actually open this force field up so we can see more information. We can receive more information into our three bodies, and that allows us to perceive things differently. So for example, the first one that we start working on is our senses. We start opening up our joints, we start opening up our mind, our astral body, our physical body. Everything starts to open, and we start to perceive energy. We start to feel tangible energy on our hands. So that's essentially what's happening. But as we develop our practice, we have to be very careful, because we're essentially opening ourselves up to things that may be harmful. For example, many people who start practicing Qigong, they become super-empaths, because they feel everything. And it's very hard to kind of close that system off. So they walk into a area and they just suddenly get this feeling of, oh, I'm uncomfortable here. Nobody else is feeling that, but it's just that their senses are more developed, and that force field has been opened on that feeling gate. So it's very important to understand what is happening here, why it's happening, so that you can guard against it. So the guarding of the gates is essentially guarding what information you allow to come into the system, whilst also being able to maintain this open state where you're seeing things as they are and not through the filters that your belief system is putting on you. So in meditation and Qigong, we're essentially opening up all of our senses to see truth and release on all of our beliefs, everything that we believe is true in our ego and in our mind. And that's the path, that's the path. The path is truth. But in order to see truth, you have to remove these filters. So we start doing these exercises where we start opening everything up. The first one is our sense gates. We start feeling the energy in Qigong. We start feeling the Qi. Then we start opening our eyes. We start opening our ears, our scent, our taste. So all of our senses get opened up. And as we're doing that, we start to maybe see auras around people. You start to see the energy around. You might start having this sense of auditory things happening. Tinnitus is quite common for people who meditate a lot. Actually, it's just opening up the senses. They might start hearing electrical items like this electrical buzz and hum, which can be a bit distracting. They might get a sense of smell when they go into an area. They smell something like they smell death, for example, and they're like, I don't want to be here. There's something off about the scent in this area. And the foods that people start to eat, that's the most common one on the taste, is that they start just disliking foods that are processed, foods that have chemicals in or high sugar amount. They become very sensitive to those types of foods. So knowing that this is something that's going to happen allows you to preempt it and make choices on how you want to be in your life and what you want to guard. So we guard our senses. So for example, when you're open, you're in a vulnerable state. So you don't want to be doing a load of Qigong, really opening yourself up, and then going onto social media and filling yourself in that vulnerable state, filling yourself with negative sights or non-truths, other people's belief systems that get implanted into your subconscious because you're in that open state. You don't want to be listening to things that might cause harm, and again, things that might put other people's beliefs into your system. So if you enjoy listening to podcasts, be very careful on who you're listening to and how you're absorbing that information. When you're practicing meditation or Qigong, you want to be very mindful of the scent in the air. So if you're practicing it somewhere and there's, close to a bin, for example, then it's going to be harmful for your system. And of course, what you're going to eat as well, or what tastes are in your mouth, what chemicals you're tasting. So this is the premise of opening up the system and guarding your gates. Once you're good at guarding your gates, you can then start to develop the gates. So the development is really important as well, because you want to open up to more truth and thin those layers out. And once you start to develop the gates, then the aim is to balance the gates. So you don't want to just be focused on sense gates, the feeling of energy. It's the most tangible one and the easiest to feel. You can start feeling energy in 10 minutes. But it can trap you. There's so many Qigong practitioners feel the energy and they think that's it. It's as far as they need to go. I feel the energy, that's it. But it's only one of your senses. You've got all the other senses to work on, including the mind gate. So balancing everything out. And the balancing of the senses is akin to the quadrupole magnet exercise. When you do that quadrupole magnet exercise, you have such a sense of equanimity and harmony. You just want to stay in that state. And it's the same with the senses. When all of your senses are balanced, you have that equanimity and you can feel the information coming into your system and you observe it. You're not identifying with it, you're not intending with it. You're able to observe every sense that's coming in, every sound, every sight, every smell, every taste, every feeling, every thought wave that comes through. And it's a wonderful state to be in, because things don't affect you so much. But that takes equanimity, and you drop in and out of equanimity, and it's something that needs to be developed. So the steps really are: open your gates, open your senses for truth, guard them against anything that's harmful or non-truth, develop them, and then balance them. Then you can start using all of the senses as one, and you start to see the world kind of in 4D, in a sense.